Robbie, welcome back. This is part two.
How are you doing,
Nice to
Dan?
have
What's
you
the
on.
crack?
Yeah, I'm happy enough. I did my own interview, so I'm glad to be back in the hot seat.
Back it up.
Leading
Yeah,
the
to be honest, I can relate to you. I can relate to you. I'd say you were a little bit nervous. I was when you were interviewing me.
Yeah, I'll be honest, but like I was nervous that because I hadn't seen your face yet. You haven't actually put a face to the name.
Yeah.
You're like, is this fella gonna be someone putting an arse to a camera? Something like
Yeah.
that.
No, I wouldn't do
Oh,
that to you.
I
Not
was
yet,
so
anyway.
nervous.
Look, fair play to you for doing it. How long did it go on for?
An hour. So like she kind of did an intro with me. So it was about an hour 20 in total. We were just having
Yeah.
a chat, and she was there saying it's great to speak to someone who was from a completely different walk of life, but at the same time, we're sharing a trip to sobriety, and
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. When social media is used to divide people, I'm kind of like, now you can use it to connect. That's kind of what
Yeah.
it was meant for
That,
in the first place, but we've
that's what it was
taken it
meant for
and
in the first place.
yeah,
Yeah.
we've taken it and made it be something for dividing people,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I know. I know. It's
Yeah,
all about likes and all that stuff
yeah,
nowadays, isn't it?
exactly. And like
We
putting
should.
people down and saying stuff that you'd never normally say to people, and it's just insane how toxic it gets.
It is. It
Yeah,
is insane. Like, think about if you were driving in your car and you're beeping at someone, you wouldn't do that if you were walking by them in the street. You really
exactly.
wouldn't. So have
Yeah,
some manners, is what I say.
yeah,
It's probably down to
100%.
immaturity as well, you know.
That'd
But
be
how are you getting on with the sobriety?
good. Yeah, so 51 days today, so doing well.
Congratulations.
Cheers. Until then, like the last time I drank, it was only 4 points, but I felt sad after, that kind of
Yeah,
the blues you get. And I was there thinking, why did I bother drinking? I was having a good time to begin with. I just
yeah,
let the nerves get the better of me. And I was 6 weeks not drinking, nearly seven until then. And then
yeah,
it was kind of like a wake up call. So the reason why I don't like AA is because I think to myself, if I was to get one of those chips, imagine you get a year's sobriety, and then if I was to fail with that, I'd be like, oh my God, I've thrown it all
yeah,
out the window now.
yeah,
It's a waste of time. I'm such a fucking failure. So I kind of think to myself, no, no, look, get back on the horse now and just
yeah.
stop.
It's your own personal journey.
Exactly. And
You
you can
know,
stop before so you can stop again. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
A
yeah.
little blip
No,
is just that.
yeah, no, I had a relative that went to AA. I'm not putting AA down. I think they do great work, but
Yeah,
it's just having that support then when you're away from AA when you finish your 12 steps. Is the 12 steps you have to do?
yeah, there's
So
12
yeah, it's
steps to it.
yeah, and you can go on for years and then something could just happen and you just say, look. But like, are you keeping yourself occupied? Are you keep yourself busy?
Yeah, so like I'll cycle, walk, swim. There's been a few things going around in the place I'm working at now, because there's a lot of kids in there, so they're picking up bugs, colds, and everything. And so a few of us have had to be sent home early, do COVID tests, and
Yeah,
you feel run down. You're in the house all day. You kind of feel to yourself, "Oh my God," my mind just goes to negative stuff instantly.
yeah, yeah,
Like I want
yeah,
to be going out and doing something, but at the same
yeah,
time,
yeah. You can
don't
relate
want to
to
get
that.
more sick.
Like, are you on any vitamins or anything? You know the way we run low on the vitamin D during the summer, the winter
Yeah,
times. Yeah,
yeah.
just
So
how
I take Baraka and then I have a multivitamin that I take as well. Probably need to invest in another one now because I'm after running out. But
it. Look,
Baraka's my go-to.
the Rockers you go to. Speaking of you work, how's the you work going? Are you engaging well with the kids?
Yeah, really well. That's kind of what I want to talk to you about today.
Yeah,
Is
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
we were looking at role models and that kind of conversation. So yeah, no, it's good. We get a primary group on Monday, and that can be a head wreck, because they're
yeah,
screaming. And I
yeah,
found them okay though. Like most of them are fine. There's one young fella now who can just set the whole thing off.
yeah. There's
He's someone
always a
who
few.
just struggles to stay interested in the same thing. He
Yeah,
wants to just do everything that everybody else is doing, and he wants to take something if somebody else has it. And you're there saying,
yeah, yeah.
"You're not allowed. Wait your turn." And then his turn comes around, he's not interested anymore.
No,
Fuck's sake.
just his attention span probably isn't the best.
Yeah, exactly. And like
Look,
you're kind of happy when you get them on something. So the other kids are going, but we're not allowed to do that, and we're kind of like, shh, just keep this fella occupied. As long as he's
yeah,
not hurting anyone, we're kind of like grand. But actually, so there's this one that runs the whole place, and she was speaking to me saying, just be careful. Because like he was on a chair and he was about to hurt someone, and I was thinking he'll
yeah,
fall and hurt himself and he'll hurt somebody else. and we'll have
yeah,
a big list of paperwork to fill out. How did this happen? Were you not
yeah,
supervising? So I was there thinking, look, get down off that chair and behave yourself. And he's like, no, like a real typical
yeah,
kid. No, and I was like, all right, and I lifted him down and placed him outside and said, you're not going on it again. And I
yeah,
blocked the door and I was like, no, you're not coming back in. I don't believe in ever hitting a kid or anything like that. But I was there like,
yeah.
no, you go out there now. I need to follow through with the threat, but
No, yeah, yeah. There is
I sorted
consequences
it.
for actions.
Yeah,
But just as you're talking about that young lad, I'm not sure what age he is, but that's the kind of people that do need positive role models.
yeah,
That sort of
100%.
way. Like he'd need a one-to-one for a while,
Yeah,
and just having people on him and just helping him build his, do's and don'ts. He probably doesn't know his boundaries or anything like that. But how I used to get the young people, I used to create, let's say if I was in youth work, um, your one who ran it, she was brilliant. I have to say, she was fantastic. But like, she had these little teams going on all the time. So let's say you signed up to a team. It could be painting or whatever. You get the young people. Let's say that they're going to be hard work. You keep that
yeah,
group really small, and you have an hour with them, or you have whatever time with them, and it's sitting them down, and you're just doing what they're doing. If they want to change it, change it. But like, they're only allowed change within the, let's say, the team that they're doing. You know what I mean? You can't go from painting to playing football, But
yeah,
I have to say it's getting their attention. But like, all you can do is you sit down at the table, and let's say you may not have one to one. One to one's really easy to get the young people listening if you can. But like having a few, let's say two or three at the table, he will eventually, okay, what's going on, and give him the attention and give him responsibility. Do you know what I mean? Give him a
yeah,
responsible job. Do you ever hear that saying? Was it Bill Gates that said it or something? Give a lazy man a difficult job, and he'll find an easy way to do it.
yeah.
Do you ever hear that
You
saying? Yeah,
find the shortcut to it. Yeah,
yeah. That's
yeah,
just metaphorically. That's some of the kids you're working with. They're just so scattered. It's hard for them to focus.
yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but like, yeah, it's. I find it a lot now with young people. It takes them a while to get more settled as they get older.
yeah. And they
What
get
age group?
bored.
Yeah, they do. What age group are you working with at the moment?
So we'll have a primary group that are about, I'd say to be about 10, 11. And then we go from
Oh,
that age, we have like teenage groups. Now, we don't have them in together at the same time, but
yeah,
that'll
yeah,
be our primary group. And then we have an LGBTQIA, all that, which they're all right. They're kind of subdued.
yeah,
Apparently, there used to be bedlam with them before, misgendering and all that stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of like, look, if you want to be called a certain name or whatever, fine, but don't bite my head off if I can't decide what it is on a
yeah,
Monday and
yeah,
Tuesday, because that's ridiculous.
yeah.
If that's all you've
Exactly.
got to be worried about. But luckily, like I find them all right, I haven't had any issues with them yet, and they're pretty calm and explaining what to say and their pronouns and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And if I get it wrong, they don't bite my head off. We have gaming groups, like FIFA or
Oh, nice one.
Fortnite. Yeah, which is kind of it's a real placid day. Have them on a Wednesday, and then we have just a regular team group. So it's like everyone comes into us, and they can do anything. They can play FIFA, they can go on the laptops, play a board game even. And there's a lot
Yeah,
of them, but they're quite good. Like if we tell them put that in the dishwasher, please, they'll go and they'll do it.
yeah,
And I like the
yeah,
fact that like I asked the young fella, I said, sorry, would you mind picking up them balls and putting them in the dishwasher? I'm not blaming you for leaving them out, but would you just do it for us? And he did it, no questions asked. I was like, good lad. And I said, thanks for that.
yeah,
And it's just giving them that responsibility, but at the same time, going, well done, cheers.
yeah,
You're not in
absolutely.
any trouble for doing it. It's just, could you please do it for me? And then
Yeah.
when you do it, you're like, good lad, well done.
You
So
know,
I find that really helps.
that's the basics. Was it Jordan Peterson?
Mm.
That
I love
psychologist, like,
Jordan Peterson,
yeah,
yeah.
clean your room, make sure your room's good and your bed's made before you leave the house and all that. And it
Yeah,
gives you that sense of like, oh, that's something completed.
yeah,
But like I found when I was working in residential units, especially normally with between 15 and 18, but some of the goals of the day was hopefully they'll wash their clothes or they'll clean their room. Like that
Yeah,
was the best you could hope for,
yeah,
because they may have not come from that environment. They may come from environment where like there was no stability and there is no one there keeping the house clean or whatever for whatever reason. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's sometimes it's alien to them, when you're like, what is wrong with you? But that's normal to them. It's just trying to figure it. Like, would you have an opportunity to get a bit of background on the young people, or are they just coming in and engaging in the activities?
Yeah, so like the people there will know some of their mothers, like it's
Yeah.
all women. I'm the only lad there, so I kind of feel like that's good. The young fellas will almost try and impress you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, dad,
Yeah.
watch me do this, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll have a look. But then they
Yeah.
all want you. They want to get your attention because you're a bigger fella, you're an older
Yeah.
lad.
You're off. Yeah. You're going
Yeah, so I was
everywhere.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I saw.
Yeah.
And like some of them, they'd say, "Look, just go easy on him. His mum died, or something like that
Yeah.
happened." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no bother." And they're not bad kids.
Yeah.
Some of them are actually gas. Like they're funny because we were writing a big board of group rules for our primary group, and
Yeah.
one of the rules, it was rule number two actually, was no talking over each other. And then me and one of the girls start talking over each other. And your man's flipping the board. Rule number two says no. And I was
Ah,
just
the
laughing
kids.
at him.
Yeah.
I gave him
The
a
young
pat on the
people.
back and said, "You got me there."
You got me. Ah, the young people will be the first one to pull you on the rules.
Yeah, yeah.
But
He's hilarious. I can't give out to him because he's just such a funny lad. But yeah, his mum died, so it's kind of like just be careful on him. I won't give names or nothing, but
yeah.
and he's a nice young fella. I bribed him with football all the time, and then if the weather's bad, that's like, oh bollocks. But usually we could go play football. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, look, what can you do? No, I know losing a mother or father or both is devastating for them. It really
Yeah,
is. That's the little unit, and it's gone.
exactly.
I worked with a young guy who was an orphan, and
Mm.
he didn't have anybody. He had his
Literally.
grandmother. He couldn't stay with her, so he was literally an orphan. And everyone he met, like, he'd tell them, and everyone would be like, "Oh, geez, the poor child." But I mean, he was hard work, but he was a good guy. He
Yeah,
turned out okay. I won't say what he does because it might give him away, but
yeah,
he was hard work, but he turned out okay. But like, yeah, his parents really they had a rough time, and then they died, and then he had a rough time. So it's the resilience in them. It really is. You'd be surprised with some of the kids, but you just don't get through to them at the start. But the things you do, they do eventually go, oh yeah, Dan was talking about that a few years ago, and that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so they may not take what you're saying now, but it's going in. They do kind of see it. It's like giving the heads up, and they don't need it yet, but we eventually encounter something, and you go, oh, I know what they were saying now. So it's trying to get them to trust your judgment, isn't it? You
exactly.
know.
Yeah, and that's the
Uh,
thing. I find it's important for me to not make blind threats and then like not do anything about it. And like
yeah.
you said, like we were talking about corporal punishments before, that was completely wrong. That was just fear
Mm,
based, whacking them for no
yeah.
reason. But also,
Yeah.
if I tell you to put something down and you don't do it, I'm gonna like I will take it off them and go, right, you're not getting that now. You can
Yeah.
have it if you're good, no problem. But you're taking the piss now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like go on a timeout or something like that. For the smaller kids, anyway, the teenage kids are fine. We don't really have any issues with them. They might
Yeah.
give you a bit of lip back, but that's about all that I've seen
No, that's
anyway.
typical
And
of them.
it's not
Yeah.
even that bad, to be honest.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
more embarrassed to get pulled on
Yeah,
something. That's that way.
exactly. I meant to ask.
Just go on. Go
Uh,
ahead.
sorry, just when you were working with young people, did you ever experience anyone who was on the spectrum, like had autism or ADHD or any mental
Yeah.
illness?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big time. Like in a lot of cases.
yeah,
And like yeah, they'd normally come with something. They'd normally
yeah.
come with something that's troubling them, and then the stuff you never heard of. So you're kind of like, okay, what's that all about? So you have to do your research on it. Like, have I ever encountered a young person? I've encountered one young person who wasn't on the spectrum. He was very intelligent, highly intelligent. Although he had a fear, I might give him away if I say that. I better not, but he had a fear of something that was really unusual. But very intelligent guy. Ended up doing really well. He was the only one I worked with that wasn't. Although the problem is, when you're working with young people that are on the spectrum of some sort, like there is no consequences to their actions.
Mm.
It takes a long time for that to happen. Like just what you're saying there with the young kids. Like I used to give them a three strike system. Like so, I give them a warning and say, look, you've two more warnings, and if they do it, I'll pull away whatever it is that's causing problems. Say, look, you'll get that back. I'll give you 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It's all short-term lessons. I don't want to hold. I don't want to go on forever with the discipline. It's just like okay, you made it. I'm taking that away, and I go if you can be good, well then I'll give it back to you in 10 minutes. So it's just small little things, but like it's trying to work with young people who are on the spectrum. It's very hard to try and put boundaries in for them and to try
yeah,
and get them to become self-aware and all that stuff. Like some young people will tell you, yeah, I'm listening to you, I hear what you're saying, and they go out and do exactly what you told them not to. But all you can do is give them the heads up and say, look, this is the truth. I used to be so honest about them. Like, let's say I knew they were engaging in drugs. Sometimes you don't want to say stuff because you might create a fight or whatever, but you're just being gentle about it and say, look, I'm just giving you the heads up. If you keep on doing A, B, and C, it's really going to get out of hand.
yeah,
And if they take on they might take it on, but if they don't and they have difficulty understanding stuff, like you might have to reinforce that every day while you're working with them. That's all you can do. That's all you
yeah.
can do. Sometimes you can
Absolutely.
reinforce all you want, and it's not going to make a difference. I have a few young people. It didn't matter what I said to them. You might be reading about them now in the paper. Just some of the people that I've worked with that are in the paper now for things that terrible things. So like, yeah, it doesn't matter what you say sometimes, but I find if you can build a good relationship, which is done through trust and honesty, and if you can, you've probably been told already, like, don't make a promise you can't keep.
Yeah,
And I've
100%.
made those, and I've made a few mistakes
Promise
myself,
of
but like,
football. If you're good, you're
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Play
But
football.
you can counteract that. You can say, look, we will do football, you know, as long as the weather's good or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
But I tried to follow through on everything I said. Consistency with my like, let's say the kids might pull you on your rules. You're not following the same rules, so you have to really show them, okay, actually, I respect what you said there. You're right. I'm sorry. It's okay to apologize to a young person.
I think
It's
that's a
okay to
really good point. I think that's
yeah,
excellent because I agree with that. When a young fella, like, I can have a laugh with him afterwards, and I said, "You're right. I'm not going to
yeah,
pretend like I don't have to follow the rules and you do." Then they're like, "Well, why don't you have to do it? Because you're an
yeah,
adult." I
exactly.
actually would completely agree with that. I'd be like,
Yeah,
I need to lead by example here and follow the rules myself. Otherwise,
yeah.
what are they supposed to?
Like you're trying to knock down that little barrier that says
Yeah,
adults, and you're just trying to let them know I'm older than you, but like I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm treating you like
exactly.
one of the guys or one of the girls or whatever, and you're letting them know I respect your opinion. And the way you do that is don't treat them like a kid, treat them the way they present. If they're intelligent enough to understand that I'm sorry about that and accept your apology, well, then that's a really good start because that means they're emotionally intelligent and they have a lot there. Like you'll find a lot of young people who have gone through a lot of shit. They're actually highly intelligent emotionally and they read body language like no other, like an FBI agent. They really are very good at it. And like they'd notice, let's say you'll be consistent, you say hello to someone every morning, you check in on them one day you might not do that, and they'll be like, oh, hey, and they'll remember it, and they'll be like, why didn't you? And it'll fuck them all up. So you need to be
Yeah,
consistent. Like, hey, how you doing? Make the effort. But like, it sounds like you're doing it, that sort of way. So you're in the right place. I
that's
have to say
it.
that.
Yeah, and like I do enjoy it, and I was really impressed with the lads because all you hear now is negatives about the younger generation, and these are
No.
like 10, 11 year olds. And I was like, yeah, we'll go play football. The weather was good. The girls were actually better than the lads, which I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting. There's my sexism.
Oh well,
Quite a
it is what it
shame.
is. It is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it
But I
is.
said to them, lads, sorry, I don't know where the ball is. Someone, people are always taking stuff without letting you know, and then they bring it back or they forget to bring it back. So I was like, I'll
Yeah,
go have a look for a football for you now. And then we went down to the Montessori group. They found one in the shed. I need to go and pump it up. So I said, sorry, lads, I'll run and pump it up for you and
yeah,
see if I can find the pump. And they were like, no, no, we're grand with it like that. You sure? I was saying to them. And then they were like, yeah, yeah, no, it's fine. they were delighted with a burst football running around, and I was like, "Well, isn't that
Just
great?"
have,
You know, I was
yeah,
delighted
just
to
to have
see
the
them
crack.
having such a good time with such a simple thing. You know what I mean?
But like it was the simple things that kept
Yeah,
us. Like I know you're 26. I don't know how it was for you growing up, but when I was a kid, we went out on the street as soon as we woke up. We came in at 6 o'clock for our dinner, and we went back out until our parents called us in.
yeah,
Like I saw someone saying something on the internet there the other day saying like, "Oh, what did whatever Gen Z or
yeah,
whatever they said did when they were younger? Because like, what would you do with no internet?" And someone responded back, "We were out playing all day. We didn't
yeah.
need the internet, you know. So, and we were happier. We
I
were
would have
happier.
done that too, though. Do you know what I mean?
But there you go.
Yeah,
That's what I think that's what the kids are missing. They're missing that outside playing, learning how to deal with each other's emotions, and that's how you get wiser. Like I find some young people, they're not so social, and they sit at home. And I've nephews that are guilty of this. They sit at home on the PlayStation all the time, but they're so shy and they're not as confident as they should be. They're confident around their family, but when it comes to the society, they don't know what to do. So I think more exposure to socialization is what they really need, you know,
yeah,
instead of being stuck up in a thing. That's why I love the youth centers. That's why they're important, I think. It's
yeah,
getting them out of the house. Like I'm sure you have a few young people that are really quiet and they come in and they're like, "Oh," you know,
yeah. They'll
don't say
go on the
much.
phone
Yeah.
as soon as they get in and
Yeah.
just
It's
sitting in the
just
corner.
they're waiting for you to engage with them. They
Yeah,
just don't have it in them yet to engage with someone else. So that's why I find if you're really outgoing and easy to approach people, that you're in a good position in if you're a youth worker or whatever, because that's what the kids need. They're not going to come over to you and make conversation. Some of them will. Some of them will be overly confident and they don't give a crap. But some of them aren't. You know, and you
yeah.
have to kind of go in. I used to check. It's the quiet ones I used to check in on first because the loud ones would come over to you. You know, and it's trying to. It's
You
just
don't
as
need to
long as
go
you
near
get.
them; they'll find
Yeah, yeah.
you.
As long as you get talking to everyone throughout the day, throughout your 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever it is you're working, you're doing a good job. You know, you can't.
So,
Sometimes you're not going to reach everyone's expectations, but all you can do is your best. All you can do
yeah,
is your best.
that's
You
all
know?
any of us can really
Yeah,
do, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
and
That's the
like,
truth.
yeah, like you say there, some of them you want to check on the quiet ones because you want to make sure that people are all right, and you want to make
Yeah,
sure that you've given them a safe face to come and talk to. And that's the thing.
yeah.
Like, from people said how I'm not saying this to blow my own trumpet or whatever, but
No, no.
like the girls were saying when I started here, I was very nervous, but you've come in, you've been quite sociable, and that's true, probably rugby coaching because I would have come in and you're trying to engage lads who are quite active and testosterone would be flying through them at
Yeah,
that age. So
yeah.
I think if you can keep them focused, you can do anything really. But
That's the truth. Yeah.
they
It's good
respect me,
compliment.
and yeah, exactly. And the thing that I really liked was that when I show up for training they're all high five me and going, "Ah, Dan, great to have you back," and all. I'm there going, "That's exactly what I want. I love that," as opposed to
That's
there's this prick coming over to tell us off. Because I had
yeah.
coaches like that, and you don't respect them. You're
No,
butting heads all
no.
the time.
Just it's getting down to that level. But it sounds like you've been accepted. It
Yeah,
sounds like the young people have accepted you, and that's a big deal. Like
yeah,
you might get one or two that from the older group might actually try and wind you up and start kind of, but that's just their way of, the way you take the piss out of people because you want to get to know them better.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
That's
having
what
a
the young
laugh.
people can do, and you might take offense to it, but like if you get that high fives off them, that means you're in them. You're in there. So
Yeah,
like you have influence now. So it's all about getting to know them and finding out the things. Like one of the things I focused on, and most people that I work with focus on, okay, they're the quiet ones, and it's making sure they get treated fairly in the group. Because
yeah,
sometimes they can be isolated and they think they're in a group of lads or girls, but they're not really. Because the group is a lot tighter than they think, and they're not really in the loop. So it's all about making sure they're included and things are fair. And over time, you'll start getting their confidence up and they'll start going, no, I want to join and stuff like that. So, but it takes time. It's a really slow progress kind of thing, But I actually found the younger generation, like let's say I did, it was like youth justice work. So,
yeah,
like, let's say you got in trouble and all that. So I went from that to moving into like child school, kind of after school for the young kids.
Yeah.
And there's that many kids that wanted to join up, like it was really popular. So I had a generation of like 5 and 6 year olds coming in and doing their little colouring and their maths and all that, and that was great crack. I'd have pizza ready for them, a bit of food or whatever. Because that's another thing. Sometimes the young people came to the youth centre simply because there was free food on the go,
Yeah.
and they
We can't
really
get our young
sometimes.
fellas to eat food. We're always saying to them, "There's food there for you," and they're like, "No, I'm fine." And I'm like,
But
"I'll
that's
have it if
good.
you don't want it."
No, that's good.
Yeah,
Like I come from Drogheda, so not there'd be a bigger population of people
yeah,
who are struggling. You know what I mean? And some of the kids would be coming in and they're looking for food because they might not have got that food at home or whatever.
yeah,
So it's always about if you get their tummies full and they're happy, then you start playing the games or whatever you want to do. And that was my kind of gist every time. And I used to get big punnets of grapes and fruit. So they had the fruit and then we had a few pizza. But like it was a big success. But like I had them out of trouble and they were home with their homework done. So it was really positive.
yeah,
And I think that as far as I could bring it to, I think the oldest group I had in was 12 and under. So it was very hard to get teenagers in and do like schoolwork, that sort of
yeah,
way. But yeah, homework club. That's what it was called, homework club.
yeah.
So I'm just saying, if there's not a homework club in your place, no harm in starting it off. You
They
know what
do
I
their
mean?
homework when they come in, but yeah, I could definitely say it to them, that they'll come in and they'll do whatever they're doing and then they'll sit down. Someone will have a bite to eat, others we can't get
Yeah,
to have any of the food that we have on offer, but like that we have the oranges and the bananas and everything
yeah,
for them. I'd say yeah, because I was hearing about Drogheda and they said it was quite a deprived part of Ireland, like people just kind of left it and it's kind of
yeah.
down.
It's really bad at the moment. Like
Yeah.
the Louth County Council went up to Dundalk,
Hmm.
so they are getting. But like now they were abandoned as well. Dundalk has their own problems as well.
Yeah.
But Drogheda is kind of yeah, it's not in good shape at the moment. And there's a few estates that are families are struggling. It really is cost of living and all that. It's really hitting them hard.
Yeah.
So you can get kids coming in and like they might not even have a jacket on them. I seen a few kids coming in that was freezing outside and they hadn't even a jacket. So
Yeah.
like yeah, I was very aware of the poverty that is there. So it's about like making sure, okay, if they're coming to the youth club, I don't care if they're only coming for that reason. I will feed them. If that's what they want, I will feed them. If that's all you
We've got
want,
pizza
I
for you
don't care. Yeah.
here. Come
You're
on
doing
in.
at least you're getting them in off the streets, and you're keeping them
Exactly,
happy.
yeah. I
But
was going to ask you, how did you avoid it? Because you're not that much older than myself. So how did you avoid getting into trouble and getting
oh, I
drowned when you were
did.
growing up?
Oh, I did, mate.
Yeah.
I did. I can't even tell you what I did as a young lad. It was completely illegal. But yeah, I did my own thing. I just got into stuff that like would put you in jail. So I had a moment, I had a bit of a crossroads in my life, and I kind of went the other way. But like, yeah, I was doing really dangerous stuff, and it was, yeah, without getting into it, it was something I had to change. I wasn't brought up like that, you see, but I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
involved in things that was just way off my head. Like, really, looking back now, I'm a lucky man. I really am. So yeah, that's what kind of changed me. And then when I got away from that, I started apprenticeship as an electrician, and that was the turning point because I was doing something that was I really wanted to do, and I
Yeah.
was still engaging in stuff that like I shouldn't be doing. And I had panic attack at the age of 23, literally on my birthday, and that was the last time I started taking drugs and all that shit. So everything just stopped. I started getting healthy. I had panic attacks for a long time. It took me a while to get my head around that, but like that's when I decided I'd love to do something like worthwhile with my
Yeah.
life. And I was talking to a few people about becoming a social care worker. I was like, what's that all about? So I had a chat about it and I was like, actually, that's kind of where I'm at. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going to work with young people. And I had it
Yeah.
in my head from day one. And I was fine with that. I actually knew what I was getting myself into, got my degree, went out and worked, and I was really loving it. It's just, it burns you out after a while, you do, especially when you start getting into key working and you're a team leader and all that shit. It just, there's so much to do and you eventually get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm not being effective anymore. Like I'm actually, because the party doesn't care about certain things. You become immune to certain things, and that's not good. You need to be emotionally available. You need to have the empathy. You need all that. But if you start running low on that, it really starts affecting you. You can't continue because your family life will suffer then, and then
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
suffer. And that's what burnout is. You just start falling apart bit by bit. But like, don't get me wrong, I loved it. I really did enjoy it. Some of the maddest things in my life happened to me while I was a social care worker. Like you couldn't write it. You would never have experienced it only if I was in the job. So, I'm happy I did it, but I think if I was to go back, it would be youth work. I wouldn't go back to residential, you
Yeah,
know.
no, it sounds difficult, all right. And I think, like that, I found myself sometimes being like, well, fuck them, I don't care about their problems, and that's not
Yeah,
really what I'm like in general.
yeah,
When you think to yourself, oh, I was a bit of an arsehole there, and I'm kind of like
yeah,
to myself, a lot of people, unfortunately, will take advantage of empathetic people like myself and
yeah,
yourself, and you're kind
yeah,
of there thinking, without being a dickhead, you have to also look after number one and also a family. And like if you've got a
yeah,
family and you do, you've got to look after that too.
yeah,
And like I was always talking to my brother and we always kind of felt like we were made to feel inferior to other people. It's
little
like,
bit like yeah, I can relate to that.
yeah,
To be honest, yeah,
yeah, it's like
look your nose
never let
down on people.
strangers know your problems, that kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing. And always try to appear mannerly, never challenge anyone on anything. I would have
yeah,
been a bit more confrontational in that sense, and my brother would have kind of gone the other way. And it's kind of like, look, you've got to stand up for yourself as well, because I had my own challenges where I wasn't mute, but I had like I could only talk to members of my family with my own autism.
mm,
That's why I was asking you about some of the kids you'd say, because
yeah,
you've probably seen it yourself where it's hard to actually chat with them and engage them. So I kind of thought to myself, well, maybe I was that way too. Maybe it was hard to
mm,
engage me, and sport did help. Life experiences really helped me with that.
well,
And like you
yeah,
said there, I wasn't raised like some of my behaviors, but I was
yeah,
kind of crying out for someone to just hear me, if that makes sense.
yeah. No, I can
You
relate. Yeah,
know, because I kind
absolutely.
of just looked at it one day. Like technically, yeah, I come from a broken home. Like my parents split up, but
Yeah,
I also looked at my mom and my brother and I thought, I was raised better than this. Some of these muppets that I'm hanging around with wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's like, at least I have a family that love me. And that's kind of the one thing, that you can go back to, even if you've had your falling out and your argument. But that's the thing that a lot of kids sadly don't get.
yeah. That's your secure base. That's your
Yeah,
foundation now. Like if you don't like, I don't think it matters what age you are. I think if your parents split up, it's a huge, it's catastrophic. It's
yeah,
catastrophic for the whole family, for each individual. But like you're not working on yourself anymore, you're working on other people. And then you delay your own development. And depending on what age you are, it can be crucial in your life. Like let's say your parents split up at you're 10 or 11 years old. Like that's a big time for you
yeah,
at that age to develop and reach certain milestones. And you're not really focusing on that, you're focusing on other people. So it can delay you. But like don't get me wrong. When I started social care, I knew I was going to give empathy to kids that they weren't going to give it back. They were going to be like, fuck you, this, that, and the other. And I
yeah,
totally expected that. So that didn't bother me. It was more like it was more working for the system. I
yeah,
found the system to be really shit sometimes. Like things I wouldn't agree with, like it's putting the community in danger. Like you're getting some young people, and they're really dangerous, and they're going into the community, and they've done really bad
yeah,
things, and they go out and they've free time and all that, and you're like, this is my town. I know people in this town. If that happens, like it kind of just start driving you mad. And yeah, I just think you're taking kids out of a broken home, putting them into a beautiful place with loads of anything they need, whatever they want, and then when they're finished, they go back out to that broken home because the
yeah.
family is still like disorganized or whatever. So like it's really, yeah, like if you're gonna give empathy, if you're gonna do the job, don't expect much back from the young people, although you
Yeah,
can get it. Like some every time I left the unit of some wherever I was, the kids always made a big deal of it, and you'd be trying to hold in the tears, like because you don't want to cry, but you're so grateful, they appreciate you. So I just if you can find a place where the staff are good, the system's good, you will last a lot longer. I think I just went straight into the bullshit too early. Like my first year. Like, jeez, it was mental. It
mm,
really was mental. And then by the end of that fourth company, the kids ended up burning the house down to the ground. This house is worth 750,000 euro, and they
yeah,
burnt it down. So, like, and then we still had to care for them. We still had to care for these young people and bring them to like hostels and all that and staying with them. And the shit they were doing in the hostels and everything, I'm just like, oh. But if you don't get enough support, you are going to burn out big time.
yeah,
So, like, I gave it me all. I really did.
yeah.
But
You tried it anyway.
yeah, you'll know when you're not doing a good job anymore. Like, because it's literally like it's kind of like a metaphor, I suppose, like the Titanic, women and children first, right? So you're just trying to get the women and children on the boat, and you're not really thinking of yourself, but your focus is still on your priority. Like your focus is still on the young people you're working with, but you stop worrying about management. You stop worrying about other shit. Like you have to train a lot. You stop worrying about that. Like you have to do training every 2 years and certain things, and every 6 months and other things. Like, and it gets overwhelming. So you're just doing the bare minimum, which is working with the young people. And if you ever find yourself in that predicament, it's time to take some time out. It really
Yeah,
is. Because
safe zone.
yeah, because it could even get worse. Someone could die. Someone could get seriously injured. And that's when it really hits you hard. Then you're like, oh, I should have been more alert. You
Yeah.
know.
There's only a
But
story there recently now where we are, and I didn't know this young fella, but I'd heard about him, and he was over here in Gorey Youth where I am. I won't give his name out, but he he got himself into a lot of bother. Like the family are from a rough part of Dublin,
yeah,
and they moved down here to get away from that, and then certain people followed them down, and the people in there, like the youth workers, were like, "Oh, the fucking idiot! He's after getting himself arrested," and it's kind of like
yeah,
you could see the disappointment in their eyes because they're like, "If only we could have kept him out of trouble." He was a nice young fella, but the family weren't great. But the mother and
yeah.
father were okay, but one of the sons had kind of gone off the rails and was selling drugs, and the poor young fella got caught speeding with a load of cannabis and cocaine in the back of the car. And the next thing you know, he's up in the district court. It's mad how it can happen. But it kind of hits home then.
It does. And another thing, which I find is a huge problem. People may disagree with me. Like I don't portray myself to be as I'm not an expert. I'm a social care worker. I have
Yeah,
experience, but I'm not an expert in any field. But like let's say, according to the European Union, a child is up until the age, I think it's 24, 26. So you're regarded as a child up until like when my parents were growing up, like there was you were just once you turned 15, 16, you were considered an adult. I
yeah,
mean, don't did your thing. Like so the kids are committing stuff, crimes and getting away with it. And they know they can. And that's why the drug dealers, they take advantage of this
yeah.
and they get the
They
kids to
use
do
the
A, B, and
lenient
C.
system.
Yeah. So the kids are getting these uh, charges and they're not going to jail for them, but they become experienced then. And it's almost then when they turn 18, it's kind of like they've all these charges that they have to face. They might get a year or two probation, but by then, if they go into that prison system, it's so hard to get them out of it. But
Yeah,
like, I think kids need a reality check a lot sooner.
yeah,
That's
I would
personally my
agree.
opinion.
We're just
And
coming
I'm not
up to the 40 minutes there,
no bother at
Robbie,
all.
and I think